people would. But one sentence changed everything for me. Not a motivational speech. Not a book. Not a millionaire's advice. Just 6 quiet words spoken by someone who loved me. Don't waste your time. You'll never get it back. At that moment, I smiled, shrugged, and walked away. I thought I had all the time in the world. I couldn't have been more wrong. My name is Walter Bennett, and this is the true story of how those 6 words rescued me from becoming the greatest failure of my own life. If you're feeling stuck, if you keep saying, "I'll start tomorrow," then this story might be exactly what you need today. When I was 22 years old, my life looked comfortable from the outside. I lived in a small town surrounded by quiet streets, old brick houses, and friendly neighbors who seemed to know everyone. People assumed I was doing fine. But inside, I was drifting. Every morning I woke up close to noon. I'd wake up late and spend hours daydreaming, convincing myself there would always be another tomorrow. Afternoons slipped away playing games, wandering aimlessly through town, and avoiding every responsibility. I always had an excuse. I'm still young. I'll figure things out later. I work better under pressure. Next Monday I'll change. But next Monday never came. Days quietly became weeks. Weeks became months. Without realizing it, I had built a life around avoiding effort. My room was always messy. My promises to myself were always broken. I dreamed about success without doing anything that successful people actually did. Deep inside, I knew I was wasting my potential. I just didn't want to admit it. One rainy Saturday afternoon, my older brother Nathan stopped by unexpectedly. Nathan had always been different from me. He woke up before sunrise. He read books constantly. He treated every hour like it mattered. While I chased comfort, he chased improvement. We sat together on the porch, listening to the rain tapping against the roof. For several minutes, neither of us spoke. Finally, he looked at me and asked, "So, what have you been working on lately?" I laughed nervously. "A little bit of everything." He smiled. "No, you've been doing a little bit of nothing." His words stung. I tried to defend myself. "I'm just taking my time." Nathan didn't argue. He simply looked across the street and quietly said, "Walter, don't waste your time. You'll never get it back." That was all. No lecture. No yelling. No disappointment. Just 6 calm words. For some reason, they stayed with me long after he left. That night I couldn't sleep. Those words repeated over and over in my mind. You'll never get it back. I started thinking about the previous year. Where had it gone? I honestly couldn't remember. Hundreds of days had disappeared without anything meaningful to show for them. It frightened me. Not because someone criticized me. Because they were right. I wasn't losing money. I wasn't losing opportunities. I was losing something far more valuable. Time. And unlike money, time never comes back. The next morning I made a decision. Not a dramatic one. I didn't promise to become rich. I didn't promise to change my life overnight. Instead, I asked myself one simple question. What is one small thing I can do today that yesterday's version of me wouldn't have done? The answer was surprisingly simple. Wake up earlier. So I set my alarm for 7 in the morning. When it rang, everything inside me wanted to press snooze. But then Nathan's voice echoed in my mind. Don't waste your time. I got out of bed. It felt like winning my first battle. That first day wasn't extraordinary. I made my bed. I cleaned my room. I walked outside before breakfast. I read one page from a book that had been collecting dust for months. Only one page. Not 50. Just one. Then I bought a cheap notebook from a small store downtown. On the first page I wrote, "Today's small actions build tomorrow's life." Every evening I filled one page. Sometimes I wrote goals. Sometimes mistakes. Sometimes ideas. The notebook slowly became a conversation with my future self. The first month wasn't exciting. There were no miracles. No sudden success. No dramatic transformation. Actually, some days were frustrating. I overslept. I skipped reading. I wasted hours online again. The old habits fought hard to survive. More than once I thought, maybe I'm just not disciplined. But then I realized something important. Successful people don't win because they're perfect. They win because they continue after imperfect days. So every time I slipped, I simply started again. Without guilt. Without excuses. Without waiting for another Monday. A few months later I noticed something unexpected. The small habits were beginning to connect. Reading made me curious. Curiosity made me ask questions. Questions helped me learn new skills. Learning built confidence. Confidence made me take opportunities one once avoided. Everything started with one tiny habit. Not because it changed my life overnight. But because it changed who I became every single day. One afternoon I attended a free business seminar at the local community center. Normally I would have stayed home. But this time I forced myself to go. After the event, most people rushed out. I stayed behind. There was an older businessman speaking with a few guests. My heart was pounding. I almost left. Instead, I walked over. I introduced myself. Then I asked, "If you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?" He smiled warmly. Never stop learning. Skills create opportunities. Opportunities create freedom. That sentence became another turning point. From then on, I treated learning like exercise. Every day. Even if it was only 15 minutes. Over the next several years I learned practical skills. Communication. Writing. Problem solving. Financial planning. Time management. None of them were glamorous. But together, they quietly transformed my life. I became someone employers trusted. Friends respected. Family depended on. Most importantly, I respected myself. For the first time in years, I could look in the mirror without feeling disappointed. As my habits changed, my friendships changed too. Some people laughed when I stopped wasting entire weekends. Others said I had become boring. But a few people noticed something different. They asked why I seemed happier. Calmer. More confident. Those became the people I spent more time with. People who enjoyed growing. People who challenged me. People who celebrated effort instead of comfort. I finally understood something I had ignored for years. Your environment quietly shapes your future. Spend enough time around people who chase excuses. And excuses become normal. Spend enough time around people who chase improvement. And improvement becomes normal too. Years passed. Life wasn't perfect. There were setbacks. I lost jobs. I made expensive mistakes. Plans failed. Dreams changed. But one thing never changed. Every morning I return to the habits that built me. Wake up. Read. Write. Learn. Improve. Repeat. The habits became my anchor during difficult seasons. When motivation disappeared, routine carried me forward. One evening I visited Nathan again. The rain gently tapped against the roof, just like years before. I smiled. You probably don't remember saying it. He looked confused. Saying what? I laughed. Don't waste your time. You changed my life. Nathan shook his head. I only said one sentence. You made the decision. For a moment we both sat quietly. Then I realized something powerful. Advice can open a door. But only action allows you to walk through it. Today people sometimes ask me, what's the secret to success? They're usually expecting a complicated answer. A perfect morning routine. A productivity hack. A hidden shortcut. I always disappoint them. Because the truth is beautifully simple. Wake up. Keep your promises to yourself. Read a little. Learn a little. Improve a little. Repeat tomorrow. Success isn't built in giant moments. It's built in ordinary days that most people ignore. If you're listening to this right now, maybe you've been waiting. Waiting until next month. Waiting until you feel motivated. Waiting until life becomes easier. Please don't. The perfect moment doesn't exist. There is only this moment. One decision. One page. One walk. One conversation. One small habit. That's how every meaningful journey begins. Not with confidence. With courage. I still keep that old notebook. Its pages are faded now. Some entries are messy. Some dreams never happened. Others became far bigger than I imagined. Whenever I read the first page, I smile. Today's small actions build tomorrow's life. It reminds me that the person I am today wasn't created by one incredible day. He was created by thousands of ordinary ones. So before this story ends, I'd like to leave you with the same message that changed my life years ago. Don't waste your time. Not because life is short. But because your future is quietly being built by what you choose to do today. Read one page. Learn one skill. Take one walk. Write one goal. Call someone who inspires you. Start with something so small you can't fail. Then do it again tomorrow. One day you'll look back and realize that the life you always wanted didn't begin with a huge breakthrough. It began with one small decision. And perhaps that decision starts today.